Okay, everybody, this is my spoiler review of Stranger Things Season 4, Episode 3, The Monster and the Superhero. This was written by Caitlin Schneiderhan and directed by the great Sean Levy. So, just wanted to put the disclaimer again, I have not seen anything after Episode 3, so let's keep in the comments discussions only about the first 3 episodes. Nothing past, no spoilers, please. The spoiler-free zone for anything after episode 3. You can watch these as companion pieces. I've only seen these episodes so far, and I'll be doing every single episode, so please make sure to subscribe. Getting that out of the way, gotta give a shout out to Brett Gelman, who plays Murray. He's been getting better each season, and every scene he's in gets a laugh out of me, so that is something to be applauded. He has great comedic timing. I particularly have 2 moments with him in this episode. The family dinner with the Byers was great when he says about Argyle, I still don't know who he is. That running joke through the scene was excellent, and just brilliant reactions by him to everybody in the cast. And he also gets a great hysterical line in this episode when they get to Alaska, him and Joyce, and he says, "This is spring." I thought that was so great. So he's been great. Now, speaking of Alaska and everything going on with Hopper, his storyline this season's been the least interesting to me. Kind of feels like they're just getting to the point where we're waiting for him just to reunite with Joyce. And we're getting through this kind of trap he's been in where he's stuck with the Russians. I like, though, that he gets a very Hopper-esque moment where he shows his strength by letting a guy hit this ankle chain off of him. So that was pretty cool. But again, not the most interesting stuff going on, but still good. I also, speaking of the Byers, love Jonathan this season as a pothead. I think it actually really works and makes his character a little more interesting and funny and kind of silly. And it was smart they put a character like Argyle with a Jonathan to kind of liven up Jonathan in its own way. Now, what's really cool is with the Duffer Brothers, they're always trying to hit nostalgia in different genres at a different time. And you see there's a very 80s haunted house music playing throughout this episode, which was really cool, as we see Vecna's own haunted house, which is definitely, I think, the house that Victor Creel his family was murdered. And again, this is just really, they're doing a good job of mystery this season, like season 1 had. And what I'm really digging about this season, and it really shines in this episode, is that this show is taking itself more seriously and it's growing up as the kids are growing up. So I really like the direction the season is going, and I could see that some people may not. It's not as fun, let's say, as the past 2 seasons of Stranger Things, but it's a better show in its own right, in my opinion. I like the more serious route, darker route, and mysterious route that's happening here. And what's so great about Stranger Things, consistently, it has such a good pacing to it. And it's one of those shows you put on an episode like this, you're engaged the whole time. And I really appreciate that. And with the directing here, Sean Levy is someone who gets really good performances out of actors, especially younger actors. And he, just to me, when I see he's directing an episode, there's usually more energy happening. He gets to do some scenes that have great interactions and great pairings. And one of those really worked was Nancy with Robin here. And Maya Hawke is an absolute force. And she has such a, ridiculously good energy, so natural as an actress. And I think that her with Nancy works so well because she's more of the weirdo. She's all over the place, where Nancy's straightforward, she's determined, more disciplined, so it's a nice match to have those two kind of together and kind of have them butt heads a bit, but also learn to work together. And I like, too, they're throwing that, okay, we know that Nancy and Jonathan are on the rocks here, and to have a little hint of Steve going for Nancy, very interesting, especially for people who want that to happen. I think I'd actually really like a Nancy-Steve reunion, especially because Steve's a different person now. And now what's really paying off is this story that I already said in episode 1. I was really liking how they're developing Lucas's story, that he's kind of trying to fit in, he's changing, he's being this jock, but he's seeing all this messed up stuff the jocks are doing, in particular Jason and his basketball crew here. And Lucas has this great moment with the Lucas we know and love comes through again by jumping through and alerting Dustin on the walkie about what's going to happen here. So that hit because that was set up so well between him kind of distancing himself from his group and then coming back when they most needed him. And I like that Max got to say to Lucas, catch up with us. Come on, you're behind, because he has it, because his head's been somewhere else. Now, where is the meat in this episode? The meat really comes from the title, The Monster and the Superhero. What we're talking about here is 11. This is a very 11-centered episode. It was smart. They brought back Sam, played by Paul Reiser, who does great here per usual. And it really gets you into the mind of 11, where she's at in her life. And that what I think works so well in this season as a whole so far is addressing 11's past, but addressing that what would be happening if someone in 11's shoes that's this outcast, how do they fit in society, especially high school? And being this threat that she is, because she ultimately was being, raised to be a weapon. So she's dealing with that, and it's tough, and Mike's dealing with it. Mike's scared of her. Mike's not saying I love you to her anymore. They had a really good scene together, and 11 feels like this monster, and she has flashbacks to that opening sequence we saw with all those kids that we think she possibly killed, but I'm still not sold on that. Maybe she was defending them from something else, and I think that it's going to be interesting to see what happens with her, and it really worked well at the end of this episode with Sam giving her this war speech, this pump-up speech, to say, no, you are a superhero. You can be that best version of yourself. What people need you. It gave her purpose again at her lowest point by getting her, arrested, and now she can be the one who will get her powers back, which got you kind of goosebumps, those nerd chills kicking in, and we could see her get her powers back, and that they're going to be even stronger than ever, he's hinting. But also, if this goes haywire, she might never see her friends again. So really good stakes built there, and that she's a worthy foe to a bigger, badder villain in Vecna. Now, I've said that 11's story's been one of the strongest, and the other angle of that is Max's story has been excellent. She's, to me, the most interesting character, her story right now, and, if you predicted, those hints were the headaches, right? And she's got the trauma storyline, and it works because she saw that Fred and Chrissy were going to the same shrink she was. They all had the same things going on with the trauma, the headaches, the nosebleeds, and that Vecna feeds on this trauma and self-doubt these people have, which I thought was really cool, shown visually through him seeing different people kind of in their worrisome states and him kind of leeching onto that. And you see even the character of Patrick nosebleed starts here, so that's going to obviously cause crazy things to happen in the Jason group. But this big reveal that Mad Max is now possessed by Vecna, has already slowly been being possessed by Vecna this whole time, was a really awesome way to do a cliffhanger, and it just makes me, I'm beating a dead horse saying this, but why Netflix? Why not do this week to week? This is the perfect story to do week to week with this great mystery brewing this season. How fun would it be to talk with everybody each week about each episode and what's going on with Vecna, with Max, with 11? It's a head scratcher, especially because this company needs to get as many subscribers back up. It's struggling hard right now, so this would have been the perfect time to make a little bit of a comeback, having this stretch for a couple months. So I don't know what was up with that decision. But anyway, doesn't take away from the show. I'm giving this episode a 9.1, the best one of the season so far. Really intrigued, and I feel like this is a lift-off episode for stuff to get really crazy for next episode and what's going to happen with Max. I'm very excited. So let me know what you think down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I read every comment, try to respond as many as I can. Please, if you feel generous, leave me a tip. There's the thanks button down below. It helped me in so many ways. And if you really feel generous, you can become a member today, donate. It will help me do this more videos for you guys and do this full time one day, which is my dream. And please follow me at Steve Varley Show on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok for more of me. And I'll see you next time.